Welcome to the Release Your Blocks podcast. I am your host, Victoria Bond. I am a spiritual empowerment coach. I help teach others to show up to their potency so they can fulfill their mission here on earth. I'm so glad you are here. And if you are interested in becoming a medium, if you're interested in becoming a life coach, or if you're interested in shifting your life from the 3D to live more in the 5D reality, then check me out. Book a clarity call and let's get chatting. Welcome to today's episode of Release Your Blocks with Victoria Bond. So I want to have a talk to you about freedom. I was lying there in my bed today and I was listening to the stillness before the family woke up, before the world woke up. I always wake up before the sun rises, and I get up when the town is quiet, when the children are still sleeping, when the puppy is still sleeping, and I do journaling and I sit in the stillness and practice my presence before the chaos and the craziness of the world taps in. And what came through to me in this stillness, in this quietness, was this download about freedom. And I had this deep awareness that I have so much freedom. I have a home that I created. I was free to choose the colors and the curtains and how I wanted the house to look. I have the freedom to speak my mind. I have the freedom to parent the way I choose to parent. I have the freedom to go to church or not. I have the freedom to believe what I want to believe. I have the freedom of choosing what clothes I want to wear, what time I work, what I eat, when I eat it. In fact, I had the realization that I am not only free, I'm extremely wealthy and abundant. And of course, being a projector in the human design, I'm very interested in other people, even more so than myself. It's a part of my design. And I thought, if I know this about myself, that I'm free and I'm wealthy and I'm abundant and I have choice and it gets better and better and easier, what are other people feeling? What do other people know about freedom? Do they know that they're free? And then I had this aha moment as well. Wow, we are free completely. This is what our ancestors, they chose for us. This is what they worked so hard for us so we could have our freedom. Yet many of us are still imprisoned in our own minds. Many people do not have the emotional intelligence or the mindset mastery to create the life of wealth, to create the health, to create the healthy relationships that they desire. They don't know how. They get stuck in their mind. They get stuck in the old paradigm of there is no freedom. We must be in survival. Does this resonate with you? Or has it resonated with you in the past where you've thought, oh my goodness, I'm stuck. I'm stuck in this marriage. I'm stuck with this body. I'm stuck in this job. I'm stuck with this family. I'm stuck with this bank account, with these bills. I am not free. I am a slave. I am trapped. And I can't see a way out. This is when we do not know the tools of how to really transmute these limiting beliefs, these mistaken beliefs, so then we can grow and be the freedom. Because freedom is a choice. Now, if you're listening to this, then you clearly have internet. If you're listening to this, you probably have a cell phone or a computer, a home, food, and clothes. So straight away, you're rich, right? Straight away, you're wealthy. I say to my children all the time, they go, are we rich? And I said, well, it depends, because it depends on the circumstances that you're talking about. Because yes, we're very rich in many, many different ways. But if you're talking about possessions, there's many people that have way more than us, and many people that have way less than us. But that is not how that's not how we kind of, that's not how we gauge what freedom is or what wealth is or what rich is. If you have a mind and you know how to use it properly, you know how to do the shadow work, you know how to release your blocks as they come up, that there is freedom. If you know that you can pack up your house and move at any stage and choose something differently because you're just choosing that, because that's what you really, really desire, that is freedom. If you know that you can bring up your children however you desire in a way that feels good for you, that is freedom. If you know you can go to bed at any time you choose, that's freedom. If you know you can eat what you want, that is freedom. If you know that you can create your life and choose whatever it is that you are choosing because you have a free will, that is freedom. So why are we stuck? Why are we in this mentality? So many people are in this mentality of, I can't do that, I can't afford that, if, what, but, shouldn't, could, would, can, can't. Like, what words are we using? What is your mind telling you? Are you stuck in your mind? Are you stuck in the paradigm of thought? Are you going to bed with mind chatter about how you're going to get through tomorrow with that to-do list? Are you stuck in hustle? Are you stuck in, oh fuck, the day is starting and it's only Monday? Or are you living from, wow, it's another Monday, it's another possibility? Are you going to bed and going, I know I did enough today. Anything that I didn't do, never mind. I did enough. I'm supported, I'm surrounded with love and guidance. How are you functioning right now? Let's get real. Let's look at accountability. Let's look at the canvas that you're creating for your reality. Are you in victim mode? Do you feel like life has just handed you every single bad card, challenging card, scary card, fear card, emotional card? Do you feel like you got the raw end of the stick? What do you know about your reality right now? Are you in control of it, or are you just on the hamster wheel, just running to keep that hamster wheel going? And if you stop, you're going to crash. The reason why I bring this up is because I've tasted all of those different realities, and I've done that on purpose. I've done many different things, as I'm sure you have too. This is what we call experience. This is why as we get older, we know that we have choices, to give up those things that no longer serve us, to release them, to change them, to shift them. And sometimes these choices don't make sense. Sometimes when we want to break free of the chain, so to speak, maybe it's like leaving a relationship that you're no longer in love with. Maybe it's changing a career. Maybe it's moving a town or a country. Whatever it is, that stuff is scary. And you're always going to have people say, why? Why can't you just be satisfied in that marriage or with your body or in that town or that job? You're always going to have a bit of resistance, but you must push through. And there's a difference between running away and doing it because you've got this knowing, you've got this hit, this intuitive hit of doing it. So what does accountability and responsibility look like for you? What is your mind doing? Is it more positive or more negative? Taking responsibility is a big thing. And it's something that you may not have seen adults doing around you. Even some school teachers or parents or grandparents or adults don't take responsibility for their actions. They blame other people. But what if we did take full responsibility for our celebrations and also for the things that aren't working and went, okay, if I take full responsibility for this, and I know I have the freedom of choice because I have a free will, what could I change? And what if you did this with completely no judgment of yourself? Because, like I said before, you're here to experience life. This is your schooling. Schooling does not end at school. It kind of begins. It's just a different way of doing it. So why do we get stuck in our brains? Why do we overuse our minds? Now, we all know that there's a lot of academics and they're book smart, and then some of them come into the reality where they've got to use them. They've been from uni, they know all the things, they're doctors of this and doctors of that, but then they don't have any people skills, right? So that is very similar to being stuck in our mind and trying to figure things out all the time, but then not taking action and not having the people skills, not using the experience of our life as the schooling rather than the textbook. People go, Victoria, I want to become more conscious. I want to create a 6-figure business like you've done, and I want to keep multiplying it like you've done. And I'm like, right, okay, well, stop reading all of those books and start journaling about you. It's not about how much you know. It's about who you be. It's about getting so curious about creating freedom, financial freedom, the freedom to shift your thinking at any given moment, the freedom to forgive yourself for your supposed fuck-ups, which never were fuck-ups, the freedom to forgive those who have hurt you, the freedom to choose again, the freedom of speech, the freedom to eat what you want. Like going back down to those basics, you have freedom. But people come to me and say, I'm addicted to alcohol, I'm addicted to cigarettes, I'm addicted to food. I'm addicted to thinking, I'm addicted to negativity, I'm addicted to all of these different things. That is where you begin to start unraveling those addictions of drama, of scarcity. Too many people live in the broke mentality, but like I said, you have freedom. You have so much freedom. And even if you didn't have the physical freedom, maybe you were in prison, you still have freedom. Look at Nelson Mandela. Look at some of the great people that have been in our world. Look at how much freedom they had in their physical world. And look how it helped them to create the freedom within their mind. They had to get a certain amount of control over their mind. Now, I don't say control, and I don't mean it in like a negative way. I mean it in like a mindset mastery, emotional intelligence. So much of the time, our emotions like literally are not ours. And when we realize that, then we can be a much better space to hold for somebody else. Instead of getting really angry and pissed off about somebody's husband or that somebody's sick, you can just hold back and hold the space for them and realize that those emotions, they're not yours. And what would really serve these other people in your reality? It's not jumping into theirs. In fact, it's knowing yourself so deeply that when you are not feeling free, you're going to do whatever it takes to create the freedom to be you, because you are perfect just the way you are. And so many of us feel trapped and stuck because we are still stuck in the mind paradigm of trying to keep up with the Joneses. Now, I'm really glad that I figured this out a few years ago, because being, a slightly dyslexic and being like a person who completely failed school and not being able to find the words sometimes, and even missing in conversations. I'm like, can you just speak in English? Because I don't even know what that word means. Like my 8-year-old, she can outsmart me sometimes in her reading, and that's okay. And it's gonna get better and better and worse in those areas. But I'm highly intelligent. I have the freedom to choose the way I want to live. I might even write a book one day. Many dyslexic people have. I failed school, but I'm not failing life. How many of us believe because we failed at school, we're never going to be wealthy or free? It's not real. It's not real. You find a way that suits you. So how do you feel when you are in quiet? How do you feel when there's no noise around you? How do you feel when you sit outside and you just listen to the birds? There's no wind, maybe a little bit of sunshine in your face, and it's still. It's really still outside. How do you feel? There was a time where I couldn't handle it. I'd want to explode, or I'd have to at least have a cigarette and a wine in the other hand. Then I could really enjoy the peace and quiet. But I had to be not in my own mind. I had to make sure that I had substances, coping mechanisms. Now I don't smoke or even drink. Very, very rarely do I have a drink. And I desire to sit outside and listen to the birds and to lie there and just be in the stillness and the quiet. Because when we can be in the stillness and the quiet and we get out of this mind paradigm, that is when things drop in. That is when we have those aha moments. That is what happened to me today when I was lying in bed. And I asked the question, what is freedom? And the answer was peace, stillness, knowing thyself, not trying to get to a destination. Knowing that if you were here right now, shit's going to get scary sometimes. It's funny because people look at coaches and they go, oh my gosh, I can't wait till I have my shit together. I can't wait. I can't wait until I have so much knowledge and I've read all those books and done all those courses, so then finally I can teach it. And then they wonder why when they get to the end of that course and they've finished reading all those books, they're still not creating the success that they once thought that would give them. And there's a reason for that. It had nothing to do with the books. It had nothing to do with the course. Sure, they're tools and they help you. Of course, if you're going to do cranio, you're going to need to do a cranio course, right? But it's you. People desire to be around you. And if you are not comfortable with you, if you're not comfortable being in a stillness or in a quiet, and you always need mind chatter, to-do lists, noise, busyness, radios, TVs, cell phones, got 3 going at once, multitasking, maybe that's one of your superpowers. If you can't be quiet, if you can't be alone, if you can't do meditation because you're just too busy, you may want to take a look at your mindset. You may want to notice and become the observer of what those voices are. Are you getting a, oh my gosh, you're useless, you're this, or you're that, or you're this? Are you hearing a you, like someone's talking to you? Or are you hearing an I? I'm useless, I'm dumb, I'm this. What is your self-talk? Now, one thing you might want to take into consideration, if you're hearing you this and you that, like you're talking as in a third person, you may have an entity around you. You may have a spirit talking to you. But just watch what you're saying, because if you're saying, I'm dumb, I'm thick, I'm useless, I always do this, oh, I'm so stupid, then this could be a mistaken belief that you've picked up. Maybe you had a parent who said similar things like that. Oh, I'm so stupid, why did I do that? Or a teacher, or whatever, a friend. Or maybe you've just, picked up this kind of way of functioning from your brain and trying to teach yourself in a way that's not serving you. Positive reinforcement is something that is quite new in this reality. Even I'm only 30, I'm nearly 38, and I know that when my dad, he's only like 62, and when he was at school, they used to get hidings all the time from the teachers. Discipline, 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 discipline. Kids don't really need discipline. They need to know what boundaries are, which we can teach them by showing them what our own boundaries are, but they need positive reinforcement, and that's what we require. So it's really interesting that we have these mistaken beliefs from childhood, and that could be playing out in your mind. So what does freedom mean to you? What is popping up for you? What is resonating with this conversation for you? Are you quiet enough to know yourself, to be okay being still? Are you quiet enough? Are you okay being in stillness? How long can you sit outside with no gadgets? How long can you do it for? 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, 5 hours? How long can you be in a bath for? Now that's probably a bit of an interesting one, because it depends if you like water or not and all the things, but like I literally have to, after an hour, I'm like, I better get out of the bath. I love just lying there and being, and letting the thoughts come and go, and just noticing the thoughts and being the observer. So Eckhart Tolle has a book called Stillness Speaks, and I've just started, listening to it. And like he says in the first chapter, it's not about the doing. It's not about the books. It's not about the education. It's not about the mind thinking. It's about the stillness. It's about letting those drop-ins happen. It's about slowing down, healing. Now, this isn't just coming from him. This is coming from me too, but it's a good book. It's about allowing that nervous system to completely, settle and heal itself. Too many of us have got diseases within our bodies and stress-induced problems within our bodies. Like we can have dermatitis, we can get colds. A lot of this can happen because the immunity is lower because we're stressing. Our acid in our bodies is really high, which is not great on our cells, of course. So one thing I do for my body is I alkalize. One of the things I do is I make sure I eat a lot of green stuff. I make sure I have things like magnesium to support my body. Because we are in a stress-ridden world. There's a lot of stress, and the mind has a lot to do with that. We're in this rat race of every single thing under the sun. We've got like Netflix and Neon and YouTube and Sky and cell phones. And in those cell phones, we've got Facebook and Instagram, just to name two of them, not to mention Messenger and stories. And the list goes on and on and on. And if you have got those things, which I'm sure you have at least one or two of them, you're currently listening to a podcast, it's great. But are you overdoing it? Are you trying to consume so much information that you're not allowing yourself the freedom of peace? Financial freedom does not come from doing. A great relationship doesn't come from doing. A great body doesn't come from doing. You need rest in all of those things. You need stillness. You need calm. You need awareness, clarity. So coming back to your emotions, to your thoughts, acknowledging that some of those thoughts and emotions are not yours. Who does this truly belong to? Return to center with consciousness. What is it to be like with yourself? Completely, just being by yourself, being in stillness. How long can you handle it for? What about meditation? Breathing, dropping down from your head into your heart and being still within yourself. You are not just a body. I say this all the time. You're a being in a body. You are spirit with a body. You have a soul. And if you are really functioning from that, knowing you have a mission, remembering who you are, that's what you're here for, to remember who you are, What if remembering who you were was all about freedom? There's one universal rule, no matter what religion you are, no matter what your belief systems are, no matter what, and that is free will. Yep, the Bible's been twisted and turned and interpreted in 10 million trillion different ways to serve mankind for control reasons, and also, whatever serves people. If you go to church, then your church obviously is the church for you, right? So that's cool. We can interpret anything in the way we want to. But a lot of the stuff in the Bible is about freedom, about consciousness, about dropping the old, releasing and receiving. When the Bible says we are in the image of God, what does that really mean? Actually? And what if God was just a higher consciousness? Everyone interprets that differently as well. But what if we were one with consciousness, in the image of a higher consciousness, and our job was to unleash ourselves, to remember who we were, or are, I should say, sorry. And that's what came about when we have stillness. And this whole entire conversation came from a moment of when I was lying there in stillness, in quietness, with no thought, which created space for a drop in. And this huge awareness and reminder that I am free. I can eat what I want when I want. I can wear what I want when I want. I get to create my life over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, because every day is a new canvas. And I can be whoever I'm choosing to be by cutting all the attachments of who I was yesterday. I can pick up that if I want to. But just because you're in a bad mood today doesn't mean you have to be in a bad mood tomorrow or in a minute from now, because you have free will. You have freedom. Freedom to create the kingdom that you're truly choosing at any given moment. If you are stuck, look at your mind. Create a new belief. Ask the questions. Ask the bold questions. What have I been told to believe that I didn't figure out myself? I was told to believe it, so then it became truth. Is that still true for me? Is that still serving me? And if it is, great. If it's not, how am I choosing to change this now? Because they say in Access Consciousness, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. And that's what we call a paradox. So it's, like polarity. So the polarity here is people feel like they're stuck. They feel like they're unhappy. They've got the family, they've got the house, they've got the business, they've got the body, they've got the relationship, and they're miserable. They're still stuck in the reality of others, stuck in their mind, stuck on the 10% or the 5% of what's not working, instead of focusing on the huge amount that is working. You're healthy, you may be healthy with a great relationship, with a great income, and you're miserable. And then you've got people in different countries that, don't have anything, and they're completely happy. Like looking at the Fijians, the bulla, 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 happy, happy, happy. They know that possessions are not the thing to bring in happiness. But here we are still trying to keep up with the Joneses. Here we are still trying to find our happiness when it's always been within you. Your freedom is within you too. It's a choice. Your freedom is a choice. And I understand if this is triggering you. And I understand that this triggers me because I'm always here to grow. And sometimes it gets wonky and uncomfortable and crunchy because I can feel it coming. I feel limitations. I feel mistaken beliefs come up, and you think, oh my God, no. And then you're like, lean back, lean in. You're here to explode. You're here to grow. It's going to be scary, but it is freedom. You have freedom. It gets easier and easier every time you do it. You see the limitations, you see the beliefs, and you don't make them real. You change your belief system. You recognize the limitations. You see the mistaken beliefs. You thank whoever gave them to you. Doesn't even matter who gave them to you. And then you choose again. When you are alone and you're hearing static in your ears, it's like it's noise. You're hearing energy. When you're sitting there and you're seeing static, you're seeing energy. You are not just what you were told you were at school. You don't just have 5 senses. You have got capacities beyond what you will ever experience because they're infinite. Tons of capacities. I do things like light language. And many churches, they talk in tongues. Is there any difference? Is it not intention setting of a vibration of a higher consciousness or of higher beings? Not that they're higher than us, but the beings that are, clearly not from here. The highest frequencies. We have the ability to tap into our highest frequencies to make a massive difference in the vortex around us, within our vortex. It is not finding our freedom from the external. You can be a multi-millionaire with everything you ever wanted and still be a prisoner in your own mind. Many are. So what are you truly choosing? Why can't we have it all? Do you believe you can have it all? A great relationship, healthy family, the house of your dreams, the business of your dreams. Many of us don't believe we can have it all. And when we do get it all, if we get it all because we believe we can get it all, it doesn't mean that shit's not going to happen. People will get sick. Things are going to happen. The market might crash. We might lose stuff. It doesn't mean that you're not aligned. It just means you're living and experiencing. And you have the freedom to choose how you react to everything. So what does freedom mean to you? Who is contributing to you? Who are you hanging out with? Are they serving you? Where are you living a lie? Where are you living from integrity? What is your truth about your beliefs? What have you not tapped into yet, but you can feel it there? It's time to get real. It's time to be you unapologetically. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much for joining the Release Your Blocks podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love to hear from you. So please leave a review and tell me what your favorite takeaway from today was. There is so much more from where this came from. You can also find me at Holistic Energy Shifting on Facebook, where you can find more content, more coaching, and more guidance. Have a grand and glorious day, and I'll see you next time.